these in the weirdest spots. Okay, we got a new one. The Jungle Adventure. This one, fifijoy sent this one to me. Thank you very, very much, fifijoy. And I'll put a link to their site in the description below for sure. This is a different one. Way different from anything we've done before. So we're going to open this up and see what's in store. First things first, I got another hammer. These little hammers, I got a few of them now. They come in handy, not just for projects by these guys, but a lot of them, because they're nice little, teeny little hammers. So I'm appreciative of this tool. So, looking inside, there's a few extra components that we're not used to. There's a speaker. And we got another one of my favorite tweezers. I use the heck out of these. I like these little pink ones. And then we got, of course, a sanding emery board. And we got a lot of electronic components. We're going to learn something new, I think. I'm going through all the beautifully printed, by the way, for the one tool that I really like. And I think I found it. This one. This is our little punchy outy little tool. It's handy. If you don't have one of these, it comes with it, but you could also use your tweezers if it's too tough to punch out. It's nice thick board, so less likely to break all those skinny pieces. So let's get started. So the very first thing, we're going to get this out of the way. And it looks intimidating. It's not. What's nice about this one, the little circuit board, it's going to be right there, is marked of where to plug in things. So if you can read the little writing, it tells you exactly where to plug it in. Another thing I like about the wiring on this one is all the pieces are pre-wired together. The only thing we have to do is plug it in. And here's our circuit board, all marked, power, left, right, speaker, those kind of things. And all we have to do is put it together. You wanted to know what the speaker does? There you go. Jungle noises. Very cool. We haven't had that before. I don't think so. No, I don't think. The most noise I've had on one is a music box. So this one will be fun. Oh, the Harry Potter hat had a speaker as well. So we're going to just leave that plugged in. Everything works great. There isn't a cover for the battery. I looked. I thought I was missing the little cover for the battery. It isn't. It's left open on purpose. So we'll just set that aside and go to the next step. And the next step is to build this little guy. This is going to hold your battery box. This is kind of a little cradle to hold the battery box. And I will say, this right here, because I pushed it wrong, doink, and it hurt myself, is the only piece I broke, which is pretty good. But that was just me pushing. I shouldn't have pushed where the divot was, but it's not a big deal at all because once we set it into the base, it won't even matter. So if I was going to break anything, this was the best case scenario. So we're just going to build it as normal, like nothing ever happened. And then we'll put it into the base and you'll see. You won't even notice. See? Good as new. If I wanted to, I could put a little dab of glue there too. But we won't need it. This won't even be seen. This is all in the under area, behind the scenes. Okay, we got the first light going. And it will tell you which light goes where. This is the shortest wire. And all the little lights will be clamped in with these little C shapes. Pretty easy. Just put it right there. The only tricky part is that I found was it didn't really say how far out it should stick out or anything like that. So I kind of had to test it, see if it's going to line up okay, and then adjust it as needed. So if that was sticking out too far where I can't put this piece in, then I'd have to take the clamp out and adjust it. This looks perfectly fine, so we'll just go as that. And we're already at the bottom. So the water part kind of goes towards the front, and then the grassy goes to the back. Well, actually, it's the other way around in the diorama. So the grass is actually the front of the book nook, and the water's in the back. There, you'll see at the end there's like a picture of a waterfall, so it all flows together, so to speak. And I won't put the noise in. I fooled you. The hammer does come in handy, though. I unplugged the battery pack temporarily just while I was working with it, and now's the time to just go ahead and plug it right in. Now the touch sensor is a little sensitive. If it gets annoying, which it can be, you can take the battery out until the very last second. I left them in because I like to test it as I go just to make sure that I'm not wrecking the wires or things like that. Just don't touch that little touchpad that's on the top of the screen there. And then you're just going to set this little circuit board. There's little brackets that go all the way around. I found the easiest way was to put the top 3 in, kind of slide it in, and then put in the bottom one. It is a little bit loose. I will admit that a lot of the pieces I found they were either really, really tight or really, really loose. So kind of go with your gut and glue where you want. It doesn't tell you to, but I know that these will be moved around and looked at and oohed and awed, and so I want it secure. So I glued almost every piece. And now we're going to put this one piece that we just built over here. You know, knowing, because I'm from the future, but this piece is facing away from the front. So that's interesting. You never even see that piece. I'll have to look at it a little closer. Maybe it reflects somewhere. One of the hardest this is a tricky kit. I will definitely say that. This is, I wouldn't have this as your first kit. The wire management can be confusing. I can see that. And this little hook guy, I did break it a little bit and face it the wrong way. You really, really, really need to stare at the pictures. And if you need to, get your magnifying glass, or you can do as I do, is I kind of use my camera on my phone and zoom in just to see what they're wanting to do, because sometimes these pictures are really small and it's kind of tricky. Just take your time. I gave this project a lot of timeouts just because it's like, what? And also keep in mind, all these wires that you see, it's going to look a mess. And that's fine, because you're never going to see this. It's just going to be hidden underneath your little camping area. Also, this battery pack kept sliding around on me all the time. So I got my painter's tape. Painter's tape, if you didn't know, isn't super sticky. It's not meant to stick down forever. So, and even if you used regular masking tape, you'd be okay, because these pictures are pretty well printed on. But I used that just to tack it down for now, because it kept sliding around. And then just put your clamps in right where it says. And that's about it for the main power of the lights. Not bad at all. Just organization, that's all. Let's start building a jungle, huh? So we're going to put this little backing here. It's kind of a stand for the trees so that they don't fall over. I'm using leftover glue from my previous kits that I just did. But another good glue just is like the Eileen's Tacky quick dry glue. Anything that will dry semi-quick. Because a slow drying Elmer's, it'll work. Yeah, it'll work. It's just it takes a while to dry. So if you do decide to use a school glue, a white glue kind of thing, just do it real light, just enough to tack it down. I found, so as I went, a lot of these little pieces that I'm putting together were too loose for my liking, so I just put a little extra. You don't have to do that. If it's tight, you're fine. There's a lot of little critters that go around here, and this is the first one of many. So basically you're gonna use this little rectangle piece. I put it too low, and then I realized what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's kind of the backing to it. And then you're gonna just put your little monkey right there, and they do, just like puzzle pieces, they fit exactly in that spot. This one has a little hangy monkey, which you think would be very precarious. So what I did is, instead of gluing it there and then holding it for 1,000 hours until it dried, is I flipped it upside down, and I used my little tool that's the same depth as the wood, and use that to prop it up a little bit, and just let it dry. Just like that. This one is kind of like, yeah, the Viking one, you're building a lot of pieces and parts before you actually see what it's going to look like. So this one, you're going to be building a lot of trees. And later on, you're going to be building rocks. This is going to be the first of some of the major pieces here. So this little eye beam, I don't know what you would call it. It's sandwiched in between the pieces, so it's kind of gives you that depth, the 3D effect, like you're going into the jungle. You'll be doing a lot of that. It's like a pop-up book, if you've ever seen those. So yeah, the water's in the back of your book nook, and we're just gonna start building from the back to the front, and then up the sides and down the middle. It's all over the place. Like I said, this one will test your patience. There's little holes where the wires will go, and it's done very efficiently, so there's a rhyme and reason to where they want you to put the wires. And if I didn't say it already, the wiring on this one is probably the biggest, trickiest part of the whole thing. I'm feeling confident that I can take the tape off my battery pack here. And we got this fun bendy spot. Make sure it's the right side up. The little hole at the bottom is where the wire goes. Like I said, they tell you exactly where the wires go. Just follow the diagrams. I miss many times of different things. It happens. I like to show it, like a real person would make this. You guys know, I'm not an aesthetic person. We're having fun, we're learning together, and we make mistakes, and that's perfectly fine. I'll make the mistakes for you, okay? And I'll show you how not to do it. You're going to be building a lot of these parts that you have no idea where they're going to be going. You just trust the process. And I don't think I skipped any steps and went back and forth. Like some of the kits where you're building a literal house, you could probably build all the breads and cakes before you build anything else. This one, I would recommend building in the order that they tell you, because it's a little tricky. It is literally a puzzle. And they're just giving you the answer key. So follow the instructions. One thing I do really like about these, they're really good at making pieces fit just right together. It's very satisfying. When you do it right, you know. So, for instance, this one is like, if you put that curve in right, and this will fit right in there. And you're like, oh, hey, we did something. This part here confused me a little bit. It still does, I think, even after I finished it. It's like, I know what it's for, but I'm not sure why. I don't know. Anyway, you'll see in a minute. So this is all layered. It's going to look like a little guitar, but it's not. This is actually for your fire, believe it or not. You'll see. So we just layer it up. It all fits. At first I was like, oh, it's an instrument with a little bow. No. So this goes in here, and this is going to be your bracket that holds it into place. It goes right here in this funky little hole. And I do believe it's meant to move back and forth. And I think it's supposed to simulate like a flickering flame sort of thing. And then you're going to put these little tiny pieces all the way around. This is going to be your fire, you know, the sticks for the fire. For some reason, I can't think of what to call them. The campfire. There we go. And I did glue these all in. I had these in, and then they were just, I knew these teeny tiny pieces, if they fell out, I would never find them in my carpet. So I just glued them all in. Better safe than sorry. Another thing that confused me a little bit is this little fire piece. They give you two. So I thought maybe you sandwiched them together or something like that. No, but just one fits. So maybe it's a spare piece. We're going to go with that. Now we have a campfire. We have to have a place to sleep, so we're going to build our little tent. And of course, we're semi-fancy. We're going to have to put a blanket down first. We don't want to sleep on the jungle floor. Ew, there's bugs. So it's just a sticker. There's only a couple stickers in this. And I don't know if you can see it. I try to show it with the lighting, but there is an outline of where everything goes. And these little pieces, they're for the tent later on. Kind of our tent pegs. Here you can really see the outlines there. So there's a little hat that goes in the hole, and then there's a rope and a pickaxe there. We're on a bit of an archaeological dig here. We're finding all sorts of things. We got dinosaurs, we got temples of doom, we got all sorts of things. So we're going to put our little dinosaur bones here. This is another one. Trust the process. It makes sense in a minute. And then what you're going to do is go from the underneath, and those little pegs that you put in, those should line up. I will say at one point one of the little pegs did fall out, and I just had to glue it in. Just like that. Alright, we got another light, and this is our campfire light. And it does tell you which one goes where. I believe this is the one that's all by itself. And that's just going to get tacked in. You kind of have to bend it so it goes in the hole there. And I test them all the time to make sure I didn't break a wire or anything. So be gentle, bend it, and make sure it still works. And then tack it in. This light also flickers, I noticed after playing with it for a while. It's kind of cool. All the lights have a purpose. Alright, we got the door for the battery pack. And make sure, because I had it upside down at first, the taller little point goes to the top like that. There you go. Now we're going to just put it all together. That long little pin on the door, it's so you can open and shut it. And it should all line up. Don't worry about if that... I ended up putting that door in last and just lining up all the other pins first. There we go. I think we have the jungle floor now. With a door. Alright, we need a tent. It's kind of a teepee shape. We know what it is. Once you get to the material, what I did, and it's all nicely creased and pre-cut, so I just lined up all the creases. I did one leg at a time, so I glued down one leg, held it there for a while, and then went to the next and the next and the next. It took a minute. And for the top here, they have this hemp rope here. And I tied it off first just to make my life a little easier so it doesn't wrap around all the time. And then I just wrapped it around. You could get fancy and weave it in and out, however you want. And then just cut it and glue the end. And we got ourselves a cute little tent. Ta-da! We need a backpack to hold all our supplies. So this was nice and easy. We just layer it up. There's a little piece in the middle that holds it all together. And here's the rest of our stickers, and this is all going to be for the backpack. So there's a wider one that goes around the edges. Just cover up all those layers of wood. And if you need to, if it doesn't stick down, mine I did have to glue eventually, but if it doesn't stick as well as you'd like it to, by all means, put some glue on there. Wouldn't hurt it. We're going to make a little bed roll or blanket roll. Just roll it up as tight as you can and then glue the end. I did this all in one swoop, so I held it down there. And then while I was holding it down, then I stuck the stickers down, hoping the stickers would help stick it in place. It did pop up for me eventually, and I had to glue the little straps down. Now, initially, I thought this was done, and I completely glazed over the next step, and even put it all the way into the project and everything, but I backtracked and fixed this, because you always know when you did something wrong when you have extra parts, and here's the extra parts. So this is me going back, and you'll notice the straps did pop off, so we have to fix this anyway. That's okay. So I'm just going to glue these down, and then glue the little extra pickaxe on the side, and then there's a couple of pockets that stick out. There we go. Now it's done. We also have a little cooking pot with a little spoon. You could either just leave the spoon hanging in there, or I glued it in so I wouldn't lose it. Like I said, I always get people looking at these. I bring these to shows when I do craft shows and stuff, and it's inevitable that somebody isn't gentle with them. It's okay. They're meant to be looked at. But in my back of my head is like, I know how it's built and I know to be gentle with it, but would a regular person coming off the street, would they know? No. So we'll glue it down just for a little insurance. And now we're going to just put our pieces onto the floor here. Our campsite. When you put the little tent in, it's supposed to go kind of around those little pegs that you put in. So I use those as gluing spots, basically. And they're not going to be 100% perfect, but just get it in there well enough. Enough so it won't fall over. I'm going to put this little backpack in. This is after I fixed it, so you're going to see that in the next few shots, it's going to show the backpack without the extra parts. But that's okay. Ta-da! Now we got a little bit, we're going to go up here. So there's a hole right there, and we're going to put the long wire. I think it's it says the longest lamp. So we're going to put that through. It doesn't tell you till later, but there's another light that goes through there. That was one thing that I came across. You start doing things and then you realize like 4 steps down that you should have done something back then. It's tricky because this is a tricky project. You kind of have to look ahead a little bit just to see where things go and how it's ultimately going to look. But for the most part, the instructions are correct. In fact, on this one, I'm not going to tack in the wire just yet because I want to see where things are going. So I'm going to give this just a little time out and we're going to build this piece. There's a couple of these, I think they're cliff rocks or, yeah, they're just rocks and mountains and things. And I found that a lot of these little pegs that go in here were loose. So I glued almost all of them. On this first one, you're going to see it's pretty floppy there, and I thought maybe if I put in the bottom, it's going to tighten up, but it didn't for me. So what I did is I just put a little dab of glue on each little hinge. Yeah, there we go. We're just going to glue those in. This is solvable. And this is after I glued it and it's dry now and it's not going to move around on me, because as soon as that, if that was too floppy, putting this little piece up here, it would be very frustrating because it would fall apart. So just make sure you're facing the right direction and put the little top there. This is going to be where your little Temple of Doom is. Apparently we have Vikings here. They're everywhere. I missed this little end piece, and so I'm just gonna put that one right there just to finish that one. Or it might have fell off, one or the other. Of course we need more bones. You just match the pictures up. You can't get it too wrong of where to place things. Everything is outlined. This is the entrance to the cave, the mysterious cave. Ooh. In real life, I would never do it. So just make sure your pictures are facing the directions it says. So it'll feel wrong, especially on the roof, that it's all backwards, but you got to remember everything is facing like you're standing in front of it and you won't see the back of it. Kind of. So there is a reason the way the pictures are facing. If that made sense at all. And now let's put this all on the top. These little flags and banners, I thought for sure I was going to break them, but I didn't. Pat myself on the back. I did not break these pieces. But do be careful because I can see them breaking very easily. And these fit nice and tight. Alright, we're in a spot where now we can tackle this light here. So this one is going to go kind of under our little archway that we just made. So it just clamps in right there where the red tunnel is. And then there's a second light that goes through this hole. And this is going to get attached to that rock piece that you just made. And this is where I got confused just a little bit. Because it doesn't really tell you how far onto this piece. I thought it was there to light up the red banner. But apparently it goes a little bit further out. You'll see later there's a tree branch that it goes on. So I originally clamped it right behind this little banner, thinking it just glows ominously there. It should look a little something like this. And you'll see me testing the lights all the time. Just make sure they look all right. Perfect. It's kind of funny. Every time I test the lights, the jungle noises also go off. If you forget that that does that, it's kind of startling. But it also gets you in the jungle mood there. All right. As far as wires, we're pretty much done. So we're just going to organize this. They have some nice little clamps. They do give you a few extra clamps. I like that. Because if you had to, I did at one point have to pull a couple of these out, and sometimes they break. So it's nice to have some spares. I'm just organizing my wires here just to keep these wires out of the way so that I don't snag them. I do end up, because you'll see later on that I need to adjust it a little bit more. They're not as loose as, they're too loose right now. I'll tell you that. They do tighten up because I did that one that goes behind the red banner a little bit too short, so I had to extend it out. We have a scary snake, but he's a little too plain, so I had to zhuzh him up a little bit. Add some eyes and a little red tongue. Plus I had all the pens around, so why not? And we're just going to take a little bit of these yarny vines and then glue it onto the top, and then wrap our snake around it. We have another little staircase that we got to build, and just, and for some reason, a squirrel. Are squirrels in the jungle? There's a couple squirrels in here. I laughed every time I saw it. Those squirrels get everywhere. And they're surviving the snake. Or maybe, I don't know. We'll say they do. Below our stairs, we have this little vine, and of course, we're going to use our fun viney yarn here to cover it. Just do it willy-nilly. They give you more than enough of this yarn, so you really could put it everywhere if you wanted to. And it would actually look really cool if you did. So, don't be shy. And it's going to fit right in here. So first we put the little snake, and then we'll set our stairs down. Some of these fit. That little stairway was a little tricky getting in there, but it does definitely hold the wall up a little better. And then we're just going to glue our little fern branch thing over here. More tree branches. This one is an important tree branch. It goes across the whole piece. So you'll see that on the left side there's a little notch and the right side there's a notch. So it's going to hold the two walls together. Before we do that, we're going to glue our little creatures here. And they do fit just like a little puzzle piece right in their spots. While that one's drying, we might as well do the other one. And this one we got a little lizard and a little bird. I guess parrot. Macaw. All right, we're going to start building out from our wall now. So that long span that has the little lemur on there, it's just going to go right there. Just like that. He's going to stick out a little bit. And this is where it got confusing for me. And I had to backtrack a little bit. After I put this piece in, and then they want you to hook the light up. And you're going to see. Now, in all honesty, I probably could have left the light right where it is. It would have been just fine. But I'm going to try to do it how they do tell us to do, just because maybe the lighting effect's a little different. So I had to take out a couple pieces for this to work, and I just had to pull the wire out just a little bit more, because it needs to go on that branch. It's going to go right there. If it focuses on the branch and not my hand. And then it kind of gets tacked down back there. And then I'll put the banner back in. Sometimes you have to backtrack a little bit. At least I caught it now before it was all together. It would have been really tricky. I probably would have left it, to be honest, the way it was. There we go. Now they're in the right spot. All right, on to the other wall. So we got a bunch of little vines and things, and I don't know if you can see them. It's kind of tricky in the lighting, but there is little outlines of where everything goes. So it's kind of like a fun little easy puzzle. Just glue them in place. And honestly, you know, if you get it in the wrong spot, it wouldn't have mattered. Ta-da! All right, we got another rock formation, a little side of the mountain cliff, and it's just like the other one, just this one's a little bigger. And again, I did end up gluing all the parts and pieces. If it feels right to you, just glue it together. Here's our other squirrel. See, they survive. Keep on building. And the holes, that's, I'm guessing that's where the speaker is going to go. These rock formations, one, because they were really loose as you're making them, and they just, for some reason, my brain got confused a little bit here, there, everywhere. That's normal, but just keep on going and just go one step at a time. Don't jump ahead on this, and don't pre-punch out all your pieces. A lot of them are printed on, like the tinier ones, but the bigger ones are not. So I could see it getting mixed up real easy. Looks like a little alien creature. I don't know. It's a trust the process kind of thing. So let's go ahead and decorate our little rock here with a lizard. Now I started to put this on here and it just didn't want to go where I wanted it to go, and I know I did something wrong there. But it takes me a while to notice, I'll tell you that. So I gave it a timeout. We're going to work on something else and clear the brain. We're going to put some monkeys in the jungle here. And a bird. And then I noticed I had an extra piece and I had to put it at the end there. So we'll just do that now. Okay, this is a rope bridge. And I will tell you, this is going to be a test of all tests. This took me a while to do. This part right here, easy. We're just going to put the little pegs in the square pole hole. And you're going to build 9 of those. And then you have one piece that looks a little different. This is the one that hooks into the wall. And so we're going to build that one and set it aside as well. And then we got all our pieces that we'll need. And now you're going to build this thing. And if you're like me, you're going to be like, what is this for? I'm thinking it's a structure thing. So I just build it. Thank goodness I didn't glue anything, because it's what it is it's a jig. And it is purely made to make your life a little bit easier as you put the rope bridge together. It's a tool. You're building a tool. Once you have it built this far, then you're going to put 3 of your little rungs for your bridge. Make sure they're all facing the right direction. I'm still, as I'm doing this, I'm still confused as to what this is for. So, knowing what it is now, it makes sense later. But so we're going to go ahead and put these in. And then you're going to kind of lock it in with this little piece. You can, as I'm kind of hesitating, like, what are we building? And then it locks in at the bottom. Don't glue this together. This is temporary, and it's meant to be temporary. Here's the string. This is where it'll be like, oh, this is what it's for. So it says to do this 20 centimeters or something. Do it way longer than you think you need. I did a little short and I had to add some string to the end. So make your strings a little longer so you don't have to do that. So you need 4 strings. And this is going to be, this is where it'll test you. It'll test you. You could, thinking back, you could just wrap it around and glue it onto each peg. What they want you to do is, and I did do it, is tie it on the tops of each of the little pegs and the bottom of where the stepping boards. Use your tweezers. And give yourself enough slack at the ends because you got to tie it to the end pieces at each end too. So you're going to tie it around each board. And this took forever. I was determined to do it. And you're going to do this to both sides. Now this is where the tool makes sense. It's purely for spacing. So once you get these tied, then what you're going to do is you're going to take your little steps out, leave one in at the end. So move it down, leave the one in, and then add two more, and then tie, and then as the next two. Then you're going to do the same thing over and over and over until you get to the very end. Once you get your main rope bridge together, then you're going to tie that one piece to one end. That's why you need a little slack at the end. And then there's 2 pegs that go on the other end. And honestly, I only did one little bitty one, and then the other one I just kind of wrapped around and glued it on. I got tired. And I think this is a good one where if it's all messy, more the better, because it's supposed to be an old, scary, you know, Indiana Jones bridge that goes over the waterfall kind of thing. So it's supposed to be a little bit rickety and scary. Mission accomplished. And I did add a little dab of glue over every string because I was thinking, I did all this work. I do not want it to come undone. So I'm going to glue every one. And you know what's even more frustrating is you do all that work and make it look really cool, and you barely see it in the end project. It's way in the back. But we know it's there, and we know we did it. Alright, now we're gonna get our wall set up. And yep, I figured out that I had one piece in a little backwards. And that was being the piece that was keeping me from putting it flat against the wall there. Yay, finally! Kind of looks like a spaceship, doesn't it? A little Avatar-esque. Alright, this is a good spot. Look at that. We're going to put up the next wall. Wall number 2. And then make sure your speaker sticks, the wire is through the back. And also, your branch that came from the other side, that connects over. So you kind of have to do it all at once. It does fit. It's just, do it nice and slow. Now time to put our beautiful rope bridge in. The one piece goes in the side. If you have to, like I did, I took that one little piece out so I can fit it in there. It fits nice and tight. Connect it to the other side, and then I'll clean up the little strings here and there. Yeah, it's a little wiggly woggly. That's okay. Like I said, it's supposed to be a crazy little bridge. I did glue it up a little bit against the rocks there just to even it out a little bit. And so you can see it from the other side. And the last wired thing, the speaker. It fits right in between those two little brackets. I glued mine in because it did not want to stay in there. Yeah, see? So let's glue that in and let it dry. This is after it dried. And then that wire that comes down to where the water area is, right there, we're going to cover that with our little viney yarn stuff. Now's the time if you want to go crazy with your vines, put it everywhere you want. All right, make sure everything's all secure the way you want. This little project, once you seal it up, it's going to be very difficult unless you take it apart to get into it. So make sure everything's where it is and then seal her up. You're going to put the back on and the top on. And the top piece is a plexiglass with a few little holes. It's really cool. I didn't notice it until after I was all done. And then if you put a light over the top of it, it shines down through it like a forest canopy. It's really, really neat. You'll see it in the final result there. Then you're just going to glue the little touchpad to the front panel and glue it on. Or not glue it on, put it on. You're going to see it's very, very, very dark. It's kind of like the Viking one where it's really dark until you turn everything on. And then it's got this glow. But even more so on this one. Definitely I would recommend if you display this, put a light over the top. And then the other lights will shine. It's pretty neat. The only thing I missed was putting a little handle on the battery door. And then I didn't put there's a piece of plexiglass that goes in the front. I didn't put that on, just purely for filming reasons. I'll put it on later when I want dust cover so it doesn't get into it. But then it's all done. Let's take a look at it. This is what I wanted to show you. Before light. And then I added light. Ooh. See how it lights up? I'm just putting a lamp over the top. That's all I'm doing. So, here we are, another one done, another one in the books, or in the book nook. What do you think of this one? Leave a comment. Do you like more of the fanciful? What's your style? I mean, this is definitely, I love Indiana Jones and everything, but I never thought I would do a book nook with them. Of course, there's adventure books, right? It'll go right into the little library there. And I will also put a link of fifijoy, thank you very much, in the description below if you're interested. Or just search up fifijoy. They pop up all over the place. They're the ones that also did the Vikings, the 50s Diner, and the Pharaoh, the Egyptian Pharaoh one. So lots of fun and adventures there. And if nothing else, give it a thumbs up if you like a little more DeeBee Jones here. And, you know, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're going for 10,000 this year. Will we do it? We're getting close to 6. I think we can. You guys are great. And we're building quite the community. So I'd love for you to join. We have, as you can see, a lot of fun. And I'll see you in the next one. I think I'm just gonna relax right here. What was that? So, another adventure done, huh? Oh my gosh.